Item 10A, adopt a resolution accepting the Crestmoor Glenview Neighborhood Phase 3 Utility Replacement Project as complete and authorizing release of the remaining contract retention amount.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I'm Harry Burrows, and I'm the city's project manager for the Crestmoor Reconstruction Project. Item before you tonight is the acceptance of the Phase 3 Utility Replacement Project in the Crestmoor neighborhood. The closeout of this project represents a significant milestone in the reconstruction of the neighborhood and is part of the overall comprehensive infrastructure rebuild and replacement that the city initiated in the wake of the PG&E gas pipeline explosion and fire. The first phases of the reconstruction consisted of the Crestmoor Canyon slope repairs, as well as sewer and water line improvements in the immediate aftermath of the explosion. The second phase of work replaced all of the underground utilities within the fire-damaged area of the neighborhood. This Phase 3 project represents the third major phase of reconstruction and consists of the replacement of water, sewer, and storm drainage pipes within the remaining portion of the neighborhood, representing about 3/4 of the entire neighborhood area. We're also currently in the closeout stages of the upper sanitary sewer lateral project. The lateral project has proven to be a very complex, time-consuming, and costly project. It has had a definite impact to the overall reconstruction timeline, adding well over a year to the entire project schedule. However, the benefit is that almost the entire Crestmoor neighborhood has new sewer laterals from each house to the new sewer lines located within the street. We'll be putting the final major portion of the reconstruction, the replacement of the sidewalks, curbs, roadway, and streetlights, a project we call the Phase 4 surface restoration project, out to bid in the coming weeks. But in regards to the closeout and acceptance of this Phase 3 project, the topic of tonight's action, the City Council authorized the award of the contract to JMB Construction on May 28th of 2013. The contract amount was $6,473,400, and a construction budget of a little over $9 million was approved. This amount included a 25% contingency. It included budget for soils and trench compaction testing, as well as an enhanced level of construction oversight and management, which the city had previously committed to the Crestmoor neighborhood. The final project amount was $8,522,426, coming in a little more than $500,000 under the construction budget. During the course of construction, a total of 40 change orders were issued to the contractor. As outlined in the staff report, the nature of reconstruction of 55-plus-year-old infrastructure within a neighborhood that's underlain by a variety of subsurface conditions presented unique challenges. One of the most significant change orders involved a substantial claim for differing site conditions. Staff was successful in negotiating resolution of this issue to a reasonable amount, and I'll provide a little bit more detail on that here in a second. Change orders of this quantity and nature could have resulted in significantly more costs and time delays. However, the project was completed within the overall budget, and substantial completion was issued a little over a year from the commencement of the work. It may be noted that the substantial completion was issued in September of 2014, and we're just now bringing this project forward for closeout. The reason for this is that JMB Construction is also the contractor for the upper lateral project. There's some overlap between several of the items that were on their punch list for the Phase 3 project, particularly related to surface restoration work within the neighborhood. JMB performed this work in conjunction with the lateral project, thus delaying the closeout of this Phase 3 project. A full listing of the change orders, their amounts, and a summary of project expenditures are listed on the project acceptance form that's attached to the staff report. But let me just take a second to expand upon two of the very large change orders within this project. Change order 24 was in the amount of $640,000 for differing site conditions. The contractor, once he started construction in certain areas of the neighborhood, did encounter materials that were much different than those that were shown on the soil borings and within the contract documents. They originally requested an extra in the amount of almost $1.4 million to cover their excessive costs. Staff did perform extensive forensic analysis and review of JMB's claims, including looking at details such as equipment rental rates, pipe installation production rates, as well as off-haul and import cost. J&B's production was slowed in many locations within the neighborhood. In some instances, they were down to just installing one length of sewer pipe a day, essentially 5 foot of pipe within the roadway. And special equipment and shoring was required as well. So there was some validity to J&B's extra request. After consultation with both the city attorney as well as outside counsel, it was recommended that a negotiated solution be reached. And that represents a negotiated amount in that change order for $640,000. And then change order 13 is a credit actually for $604,000. And that was deletion of 2 very significant items within the contract. The contract documents called for a reconstruction, temporary reconstruction of Earl Avenue, a portion of Earl Avenue, as well as Glenview in the immediate vicinity of the explosion area. And if the council can remember, during that time frame of the construction, that piece of roadway was very damaged, not only from the original explosion, but also the subsequent construction of utilities in the area. So much so that we were receiving tremendous amount of complaints from the residents that had to drive through there. So we originally included a temporary overlay in that area. During construction, however, we explored another method, which was fiber slurry overlay, and it was deemed to be much less expensive. We were able to delete this item for the overlay and include the slurry seal of the entire neighborhood for essentially the same price. So that was a portion of the $604,000 credit. You'll see another change order listed there for a little over $300,000, which was for the fiber slurry. The remaining of the $300,000 credit was the deletion of street light, conduits, and pole boxes. We'd originally included that work within this contract. The thought behind that was to have all of the underground work done at once. However, given that we didn't have final design of the streetlight system, we decided to delete those items and place them in this next contract that'll be going out here in several weeks. So those are 2 of the larger change orders that you'll see on the list. And I'm happy to answer detailed questions related to any other change orders, should you have those. But just to finish with the completion of this project, the total amount of infrastructure reconstruction in the neighborhood is a little more than $20 million. The upcoming Phase 4 project and the future Earl Glenview Park replacement will push the total construction within the neighborhood to over $30 million. Some residents in the neighborhood have made recent inquiries regarding the city's ability to finish the remaining projects, the Phase 4 surface improvement work and the park. Based on our current cost estimates, there are adequate funds to complete all of the remaining work within the neighborhood, including the reconstruction of the streets, the sidewalks, curb and gutter, new street light system, as well as the reconstruction of the Earl Glenview Park. So with that, I am done and welcome your questions.
Any questions for Harry? Ken?
Harry, thank you for the detailed explanation of those 2 change orders. What concerns me is what lay people and other people in the construction business tend to think of what happens during the bidding process, and then once awarded the contract, get hit with a bunch of change orders.
Right.
This was, magnified because, like you said, that they came at you with $1 million change order, and so how can we, and now we're down to, I guess, about a $300,000, credits that will carry over to the next phase. How can we be sure that Phase 4 won't be, maybe a similar instance?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Unfortunately, with underground construction, it probably has the highest risk for change orders of any type of construction, because you are dealing with conditions that you can't see. And particularly in this neighborhood, as I explained, we ran into conditions with rock, with caving soils, with sand, with groundwater that were not anticipated at the depths that we were that we encountered them. The advantage that we have with this next project is it's what we call the surface improvement project. So it's everything that we see on the surface. So with any project of this size and nature, we will have change orders. And, that's why we'll put a contingency in there to cover those. But to have changes or unforeseen conditions like we encountered on this project, we will not have those on the next project.
Anything else for Harry? Or action on this item? Resolution.
I'll adopt the resolution.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell. Aye. Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Marty Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.